All right, everybody. This will be still under the title "Warning to All Politicians Running for President 2024." And having to do with politics, just one last thing that'll sort of tie into this. When Trump ran, there's a lot of stuff about his moral character, things he said, possible affairs with that porn actress and all that. Yes, the moral character of a person's important, and all that stuff should be condemned. But the moral character of people on the left doesn't seem to matter to them. If it's one of theirs, it's a free pass. If it's on the other side, it doesn't matter. And like I said, with his taxes, people making a big deal about his tax returns being released. And that's a whole nother issue. If he's guilty of something with his taxes and everything, it'll catch up. He'll pay his fines, he'll pay his taxes, whatever. That doesn't have nothing to do with the policies he did, and he wanted to do tax cuts and things, and bring jobs back and get our immigration under control and all these types of things. So you can see clearly any mistakes you made in your life, they'll use against you. No matter how much you've tried to get away from those things, or I don't know what Trump's repented of in his life or anything like that, but clearly, because of his marriages and stuff, they call him a womanizer, etc. All that stuff in his personal life, all that could be true, but you got to look at what he's tried to do for the country. So, but as far as world leaders, him included, goes and everything, going into this age, or the age we're already in, the choices, the decisions they make, and the things they allow, and the things they try and export around the world to other countries, in their quest for global domination, etc. That's what matters. If somebody did something in their personal life, whatever, and it's behind them, is one thing. If they're trying to export all that to other nations and make, hey, this is normal stuff, it ain't nothing to worry about, that's what you need to worry about. And so clearly, if you're from another nation and you're a person of faith and an immigrant to this country, you can see what goes on here. Make no mistake about it, a lot of these people on the left are tyrants, and they want to dictate what should be allowed around the world. And you can see with things like pornography and the internet, that's already been exported to most of the world. Not that there hasn't been sexual immorality around the world for ages, and crept in everywhere, without foreign beliefs coming into your lands. It's a state of humanity from time to time, I think. But it's something to beware of. And that's what's dangerous about these nation builders and regime change people, is if they don't agree, that they think your nation is too religious, too too strict or something. I'm not talking about excess, you know, making women wear burqas or you know, stonings and things like that. You know, ISIS type stuff, beheading people, making videos of it. I'm not talking about, I mean, just if you say, you know, we're gonna have laws where you can't have drugs, we're gonna ensure, you know, people who are married and have families and stuff are protected, and their rights over their children and stuff. You know, you believe all those types of things. Well, these people don't. And the reason I'm touching on this is because the man who was fighting for his son here in America, in Texas, lost his case. And the thing was, you know, his kid was little, put on a dress or something, you know, a time or two or whatever, so his mother took him to some psychologist, and she said, you know, well, it's he's transgender or whatever, you know, he's outwardly a boy, but inside, you know, he's a girl and all this and that. So she went through the process of divorcing her husband and all, because he fought it, and so he eventually lost. And you see, that's the judges are corrupt too, and going for this stuff. So that's why, you know, the homosexuals in this country started out with, you know, just get out of our bedroom, you have no right, you know, that's your belief, etc., etc. So everyone, hey, you know, and they portrayed them all as, you know, happy-go-lucky guys on TV shows, and, you know, oh, isn't that cute and funny, and blah, 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 all that kind of shit. And you see now, and you see these gay parades in cities and stuff, how disgusting they are, and, you know, men walking around half naked and committing sexual acts on themselves. And well, now they have children. Now they're taking children to these things. Do you understand that? They're trying to make that seem normal. They're dressing little boys up as little girls in fairy outfits and stuff like that, and taking them to these gay parades. It's that type of stuff they want to export to your nations. And it's that kind of stuff, you know, the minorities, quote unquote, in this country need to wake up to. They're promising you all kinds of crap, but you ain't thinking. You are not thinking. And you know, you see all that kind of stuff, and now, you know, where before, you know, if somebody owned a business or something and somebody was homosexual and worked there, it was no big thing. You know, their private life was their private life. You know, just like the heterosexuals, their private life was their private life. Everyone works the same place, no problem. Now, that's not good enough. Now the business owner has to put up with a man coming in a dress and full-blown makeup and all that kind of stuff, you know, and greeting his customers that way. Don't you think that's a little too far? Don't you think that business owner should have the right to say, no, 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 no. If you want to be like that, go work for somebody who doesn't mind it. But they're taking all the rights that people who believe in morality and law away from them, and they're giving all the rights and the power of the law to all the people who want to be as lawless as they can be and immoral as they can be. So these people, they want to export all this stuff to nations around the world. So don't be fooled by them. So that leads me to the next part of this. You know, if you're Christian or Hindu, your end times theologies pretty much match each other really, well, end of the age theologies. And there's a part in the Hindu theologies that talk about the fires and stuff, and there's a part in the Christian theology or eschatology of fires, and you'll hear the screaming warlord Baptist preachers talk about, well, that's nuclear war. And it may well be one day. However, you can clearly see with all the fires we've had, that doesn't take nuclear war to burn, I think, what's it say, a third of the trees on the earth. Now the thing is, those things are listed as because of the immorality going on. Not so much because of the burning of fossil fuels. Not saying there couldn't be a connection, but clearly, if you look at the ages and you understand that if you really read text and stuff of the Quran and the Hindus, humanity is way, way older than what they would have you believe in the Western world. And they've covered up a lot of archaeological sites and things like that that'll prove that. There's cave drawings 45,000 years old. There are sites in North America that are clearly Viking and other European cultures. There are sites in Mexico and stuff that clearly the Polynesians visited the west coast of North America and Central America. So civilization's been going on, and people have known about each other and traded with each other for a very long time. And in all these cultures, I watch a lot of the History Channel stuff, and one of the things I've been watching here is this Unearthed series. You don't have to agree with all this guy's hypothesis and stuff like that, but and even if you don't agree with anything, if you look at the things that they're showing, maybe you can come up and connect it with another theory. But if you look, every culture around the world has like these spiraling images that they find carved in rocks and this and that and everything. And this was a symbol of time, of an age. Also, the Milky Way galaxy. So these ancient cultures were aware that there's ages, and they had prophets who told them, these ages will come, and they will go, and there'll be cataclysms, all these types of things. Jesus also spoke of these things about, earthquakes in diverse places, and all kinds of stuff. But he's speaking of the end of an age, and he says about rumors of wars and all these types of things. And the fall of humanity, the worsening of our condition. And then the same thing in Christianity is found in Hinduism. The one on the white horse comes, and a new age starts. So it points out to me when you see these circular, like spirograph things in all these cultures around the world, and they're ancient, it proves to me the verse in the Quran is true, that at one time all humanity was one community. Because you can clearly see the connections in all the ancient religions of every race in every region. We might not have all been joined together as one, like, earth You know, the whole earth was like one nation. You know, there were different regions where different races and peoples lived, but they understood that these other races and these other regions were all equal to them, and we were all part of the same humanity. And we all shared common beliefs given to us by God. It was evident to these ancient cultures that we were one humanity, and we all had the same teachings. And that's been covered up and lost, especially in the Western world, through time. And so you need to understand that in these times, when you see these things, all these they all link together, and point to truth. And you know, hey, there's some flat out deceivers out there will tell you, you know, oh, this meant this in this culture, and it was something different in this culture, this or that, and they refuse to acknowledge that there was a greater knowledge that we all shared, and we all knew about each other, and we lived in peace at one point. They might be doing that just to flat out for power, deceive people and keep the truth from people. And then there's others who just the education they got, you know, taught them different things and stuff, and so they don't make the connections. But I think going forward here, a lot more people need to start making these connections and understanding the earth and humanity and the times that we live in and the times that were prophesized, and that, you know, people on the other side of the ocean aren't so different from you, and people with different color skin aren't so different from you, and they're all our teachings. If we could all get on the right page, would lead to more peace and understanding and working together in unity. And then clearly, if you look at all those things, the teachings of the scriptures and about there being another messenger being sent and everything, then clearly you should look into the Baha'i faith and Baha'u'llah, who's a unifying force for all peoples. And looking, you know, there'll be people who tell you it doesn't matter if it's the Baha'i faith and Baha'u'llah or Islamic scriptures, or if you're on, you know, a Muslim or Hindu, the Christian scriptures. There are people who would deter you from reading or believing anything except for what they tell you. And a lot of them are religious leaders. Some of them are just people who don't believe in anything at all. So I'm telling you, there are some times you just have to say, you know, hey, thank you for your advice, whatever, and look into it for yourselves. I know there's a lot of people who will just listen to the things I just said and say, oh, bullshit, I ain't believing all that. I only believe in the Bible and in Jesus. Well, it's good to believe in Jesus. But clearly, you believe he's a messenger of God, and there's other messengers of God who have been sent. Then it shouldn't be a problem in understanding that the scriptures all confirm each other. Like in the Quran, it says to believe in the new revelation and all the scriptures that came before it. Now, many Muslim converts and stuff who come from Christianity or Judaism and stuff might relate that to just, you know, the Bible or the Torah, things like that. But it says all the scriptures that came before it. And even in the gospel, you see where it says, all knowledge given by God is good for edification. So what's he pointing out there? He's pointing out the commonality of all the religions and scriptures that were given to man. The truth is there in your Bibles. If you start reading it, try and get a clear and open mind and say, what's he talking about here? What's this mean? And not so much listen to these preachers and the thousands of hours of DVDs and books and everything else they want to try and sell you. And I can tell you, if you want to take the shortcut, just start studying the Baha'i faith. And before you jump off a cliff and condemn Baha'is and Muslims and Hindus and whoever else, look before you leap, because you're about to make a big mistake. A very, very big mistake in condemning other people of other religions and not taking the time to read or to understand. If you believe your own scriptures, it talks about not being a rash individual, not being like a bull in a china shop, and narrow-minded. And that you should be educated and knowledgeable. So, if you want to expand your knowledge of the age that most people refer to as the end times, start looking at some of the Hindu teachings of the Kali Yuga. And if you're Hindu, you can look at the Gospels and the book of the Revelations. And in the Islamic teachings, and you'll find similarities, verification, edification in all those scriptures of your scriptures, and vice versa. If you're Christian or Muslim and you look into you'll find verification and edification of your scriptures in those other scriptures. And there's things that have been taken out of the canonized stuff. Like I've talked before about the Gospel of Barnabas. In there's more things about the end of the age. Some really scary stuff. I mean, stuff that'll make your bowels loose. Scary stuff that Jesus, peace be upon him, talks about in the Gospel of Barnabas about the end of the age and how bad it will get for humanity. And in the Quran it talks about how bad it will get. We were given the best image and we'll end up being the lowest of the low in the end age, or before the new age comes, end of this age. So we could have some very trying times ahead. We're already in trying times. I mean, all the bad things that are spoken of in the last, the bad age, are already going on to some degree all over the place. Most of the places. In the Western world, anyhow. Now, like with other things, sometimes our imaginations get away from us, and we think it's going to be something that's so apparent and such on a grand scale that you're going to say, aha, this is it. It's going. No, you can be like that frog in the pot. They gradually increase the heat. And plus, it's like with the return, the understanding most Christians have with the return of Christ, of this grand scale. Most Muslims have this too, that it's going to be this way, and and the whole world, and these giant worldwide cataclysms happening at the same exact time, and world war and everything all at the same time. Well, a lot of those things have already happened. World War II, look how many people died. A lot of the cataclysms we've had, the fires, etc. A lot of these things are going on, and to think they got to be magnified, 10, 100 times more than what they are, for those prophecies to be fulfilled, is foolish thinking. They can be being fulfilled right now. Right now. It doesn't have to get as much worse as you think it does, or I might think it does. There's enough of it going on right now that it's already fulfilling prophecy. And many prophecies have already been fulfilled. And I think if you look at Baha'u'llah and the Baha'i faith, you'll find a lot more education on that, no matter what faith you come from. So sometimes these religious people, or not people, teachers, put things on so much of a grand scale that you think, well, that's way off in the future. I mean, yeah, there's some bad stuff going on now, but what they're talking about, that's really bad. That's when it's really going to hit the fan. It's really going to hit the fan sometime in the future. Well, no, all these things are going on now. The conception of the grand scale of things you have might be totally wrong. Just like the conception with the grand scale of the return of Christ. The way some preachers put it and stuff. So, and I don't know about in the Hindu religion, I know in Islam too, also things are put on this super grand scale. And that it's supposed to be something that happens in the future. And a lot of it's already happened. It's already happened. And they're telling you, no, wait, keep looking up there. Keep looking. No, it's already happened. So, I think you owe it to yourself, no matter what your politics are and everything, to look into things. Because we've been clearly warned for ages, and it's in every culture, every race has the same teachings given to them thousands of years ago. And if you can't see that proves there's one God who guided us all, and that all religions are valid, based on valid belief systems and truth, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Because I mean, the evidence is there. It's there. The evidence is there. If you look at what other religions say, the evidence is there, plain to see. Don't believe all the gobbledygook they're going to throw at you. Especially within Christian. Well, that was just the devil trying to set up a false religion, and imitate Jesus, and all those types of things. You gotta get away from them people, and look at what your own eyes see and read, and understanding, and and look at the evidence around the world. I mean, with those spiraling wheel type things and other things that you find around the whole world that were used for time, and look at all the sites like Stonehenge and this and that and everything where they were measuring time and watching the stars. They were marking the ends of ages, not just the the times of planting and this and that, but they were keeping track of the celestial bodies to mark the ends and the beginnings of ages. That's where the whole astrological signs and everything eventually went into and got away from what they were really describing. You know, each culture used a different, you know, thing in the sky to mark a beginning of an age or this or that. And, you know, it wasn't all that personal horoscope crap. It was for measuring time and ages or eons. So just wanted to throw those things out there. I mean, you look at the Hindu Kali Yuga and the Christian revelations, look at the Gospel of Barnabas, look at the Islamic teachings, all describe the end of the age, and you can see most of that's going on right now. So I think it's something to take to heart, beings they're dividing us more and more, and hatred seems to be on the rise everywhere. Maybe you can everyone can come back to their senses and take a step back, or at least some people. All right, wish you all the best out there. God bless.